My brother mocked me for not having a family. So I revealed I'd been secretly paying his bills for years, and then I walked away. Hi Reddit, my name is Mark. I am 32, and for as long as I can remember I have been the invisible one in my family. Invisible until, of course, someone needed money. I don't have a wife or kids, but that was never because I couldn't. It was a choice. I have spent years building my career in tech, paying off my apartment, and creating a life that feels secure. No debt, a healthy savings account, and a stable job. But in my family, none of that counts. The only thing they admire is having a spouse and children to show off. That role belongs to my younger brother, Kyle, who is 29. He got married young, has 2 kids, and a big loud personality. My parents absolutely adore him. They call him responsible even though he has burned through jobs, skipped out on bills, and turned to me more times than I could ever count. For years I quietly paid for his rent, his car, his emergencies, and even holiday expenses. Thousands of dollars flowed from my pocket to his, and I never complained once. I thought family helps family. I told myself maybe one day he would finally grow up and stand on his own. Spoiler alert, he never did. The final straw came last weekend at my mom's birthday dinner. Nothing fancy, just family sitting around the table. I had already brought flowers, wine, and covered most of the catering bill because Mom mentioned money was tight. Halfway through dinner, Kyle walked in late, acting like he was the guest of honor. He slapped me on the back, smiled, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "So Mark, where's your wife and kids?" "Oh right, you don't have any." The room erupted in laughter. My mom let out a little cackle. My dad chuckled into his drink, and my sister-in-law smirked. It wasn't just a joke. It was a jab at me in front of everyone. Normally I would swallow it down and pretend it didn't bother me. But not this time. I sat there for a moment, calm, letting the laughter die down. Then I stood up. In a steady voice I said, "Great question, Kyle. But tell me this, where's your money?" "Oh right, you don't have any because I've been quietly supporting you for years. And that ends tonight." You could have heard a pin drop. The forks froze halfway to their mouths. My mom's smile disappeared. My dad choked on his drink. Kyle looked shocked, like the floor had just fallen out from under him. And for the first time in years, I felt something shift inside me. I had finally spoken the truth instead of keeping it buried. The silence was heavy, but I didn't sit back down. I pulled out my phone, opened a folder of screenshots I had been collecting for months, and set it face up on the table. Bank transfers, texts, payment receipts, proof of every time I had rescued him. My dad leaned over to look. My mom turned pale. Kyle whispered, "Dude, that was supposed to be private. You're making me look bad." I cut him off immediately. "Private? You've made me look like a fool for years. You walk in here mocking me for not having a wife and kids, when the only reason you even keep your family afloat is because I've been paying your bills behind the scenes." My mom tried to step in, saying families help each other, but I snapped back, "No, families don't use one sibling as a piggy bank while laughing at him for being single. Families don't forget who covered the last 3 holidays. Families don't humiliate the one person who's been holding everything together." Kyle's wife, who had been quiet up until then, muttered, "This is so unnecessary, you're just jealous of us." I actually laughed. Jealous of what? Living paycheck to paycheck? Losing jobs? Having utilities shut off until I paid them again? Watching their kids eat because I covered groceries? Yeah, totally, I'm green with envy. The room went silent again. Kyle's face turned red. He finally pushed back his chair and said, "Fine. Cut me off. But don't act like you're better than me just because you have money. You'll regret this." I leaned forward, my voice low but clear enough for everyone to hear. "No, Kyle. The only thing I regret is letting this go on for so long." Then I put my phone back in my pocket, grabbed my jacket, looked at my mom, and said, "Happy birthday." And with that, I walked out of the house knowing things would never be the same again. Of course, the story didn't end there. That night, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Voicemails, calls, and texts poured in. The first voicemail was from my mom saying I had embarrassed my brother and owed everyone an apology. The next was from my dad, his voice sharp and angry, saying I shouldn't bring up private family matters at a birthday dinner. Then came the texts from Kyle, first calling me pathetic and jealous, then minutes later asking if I could lend him $200 until Friday because daycare needed payment. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my beer. The audacity was unbelievable. Then came the extended family. My aunt wrote that I was cruel, that Kyle had kids to think about and I didn't, so of course I should help. A cousin said I was too prideful, that Kyle might make mistakes but at least he had a family. I muted the group chat without replying. The next morning things got worse when my mom showed up at my apartment with leftovers. She walked right in, put the food on the counter, and told me to fix it. She said I was tearing the family apart. I stayed calm and told her I wasn't tearing anything apart. I was just refusing to keep playing along. She looked at me and said coldly, "Do you want to end up alone forever? No wife, no kids, no family?" That stung more than I wanted to admit, but I held my ground. If the price of having family is being mocked and used while I pay the bills, then yes, I'll be alone. She left without another word, but for the first time ever I didn't feel guilty. Within days reality hit them. Kyle started falling apart financially without my help. He texted insults 1 minute, then begged for help the next. By the weekend he was asking other relatives for money. My aunt even called me shocked, realizing he had been asking me for years, while she thought he only needed help once in a while. Word spread, and suddenly the image of Kyle as the responsible golden boy collapsed. Relatives saw the pattern they had ignored, the late bills, the constant emergencies, the holidays I quietly paid for. My parents couldn't deny it anymore, though they never admitted it out loud. My mom sent short messages like, "Hope you're doing well," but the demands stopped. My dad went silent. Kyle and his wife blamed me, but their perfect online image didn't fool anyone. She even tried posting a passive-aggressive rant on Facebook, but the comments tore her apart. She deleted it quickly. Months passed, and life changed. Kyle sold his car, his wife worked extra shifts, and they pulled their kids out of the fancy daycare they once bragged about. My parents canceled their vacation for the first time in years. Family gatherings shrunk without my wallet behind them. And me? I was free. I focused on work, booked the Europe trip I had been putting off, joined a hiking club, and started dating again without feeling drained. For the first time in years, I was living for myself instead of funding someone else's life. Some relatives even came back to apologize, realizing how much I had carried alone. My grandma told me something that stuck. "You've always been the strong one, Mark. Sometimes strength means saying yes, but sometimes it means finally saying no. And that's what I did. I said no. No to being used. No to being mocked. No to being the invisible piggy bank everyone took for granted. And it was the best decision of my life. To anyone reading this who feels like their family ATM, remember this: the moment you stop paying is the moment you see everyone's true colors. And that's when you finally get your life back.